Hello, hello. Happy full moon in Pisces. We are sitting in it as we speak. Hello, Astro Lovelies in the chat. The first thing that I would like to say is that this is a discussion all the time between professional astrologers. We are telling clients, we are talking about it on the internet. I also said this in my membership video about what to do in the upcoming lunations as far as charging your crystals or, putting out moon water. We all know that when a full moon happens in the middle of the day, we don't have the moon visible, right? When we were little, our mom and dads told us that the moon went to sleep during the day, right? And the sun goes to sleep at night. It means it's on the other side of the world, folks. This full moon is acting like an eclipse for the Eastern Hemisphere. We are on the Western Hemisphere. When you see eclipse events for a full moon or technical eclipse on the Western Hemisphere, you are seeing them happen to people of great notoriety, fame, or power. Those are, and of course, there can be other events that seem to be similar, but a lot of times we blame everything on that's going on in our life, like, oh no, there's an eclipse. You're having your own personal transits. I saw a TikTok creator who was lovely, and she's a little young, and she does metaphysics and witchy stuff. But she made a video and she was like, absolutely do not do any of the things. And while I agree, sometimes there's new moons where I'm like, I don't care if it's a new moon, I'm not making new moon water because the other transits are awful. And this is advice for the average Joe. This is why I made a video in membership. By the way, it's like $3 to join membership. There's a link somewhere. And you just get access to all of the videos. And then there's many more layers and perks and stuff. But I go through like the upcoming, there'll be another one coming for the moons in October and November. I will cover those. But I'm telling you, do not believe the fear mongering. This is actually the nicest lunation, meaning new moon or full moon, moon event, lunation, that we will have between August and September, because there's other planets in the sky besides the moon. There's other planets. And so when those planets are talking to each other, regardless of whether they are also having a conversation with the lunation, right? If we have a stressful bunch of transits in the sky, then there's going to be stressful events. And then depending on how it affects your chart individually, you can have a whole year that on a collective level, the mundane level, whether social stuff going on, financial, on a global level, it's mid at best, if not tense and intense. And if you have a kick-ass solar return for your birthday that year, guess what? And it's not on your birthday and your birth time. It's almost never on your birthday at your birth time. It sometimes will be on your birthday, but it won't be the same time of day. But when you do have your solar return appointment, you can find out within that appointment that you personally are going to have an amazing year, regardless of what. Do not pay attention to the people saying the sky is falling, because it's a lunar eclipse and it's the last lunar eclipse of 2025. We can have a new moon that's in proximity to our physical selves. You are made of water. The moon moves water. The moon has effect where it has the most proximity. That is why a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when we were having the eclipses that were visible in the United States, there was like a place in the United States. At times it was like, I think in 2017, everybody flocked to like the North and South Carolina area, right? And then last year, it was Texas, everybody was going to. Why was that? Oh, because that's where the moon was visible. The eclipse was going to be visible in the eclipse path, which means if right now it's daytime, if you live in the United States, it's daytime. The moon is sleeping here. It's awake on the other side of the world. They are getting the deeper eclipse effects. We are not. On top of it, this full moon in Pisces is conjunct the nodes. That's why it's an eclipse. And it's conjunct the north node. And it's in a trine, in an I love you more conversation with Jupiter in Cancer. It's my favorite lunation between all of August and September. Again, there's a whole video about what to do and not do in detail with the timing, and also any other like what to best do with the energy. Like how can you use it? All on the membership. And you get that at the lowest level, which is $3. And they will continue to each you will be covered for every full moon and new moon coming up, okay? But this isn't, the fear mongering is so unethical. And I get it if somebody just doesn't know the astrological part and they're trying to be protective and they're trying to help people. But when it comes to eclipses and astrology, I'm just going to say, you're probably going to want to follow the other kinds of creators. I'm also a metaphysical practitioner. I do all kinds of, I'm also a Reiki practitioner. In my metaphysical practices, I also specialize in trauma-informed tarot, in protection intentions, in teaching people spiritual hygiene and getting in touch with your gifts and transmutations, all kinds of stuff. But still, so I'm a big fan of all of those things. And somebody can be really knowledgeable in all of those things. But if they are not a practicing professional astrologer of some experience, because the experience and the charts and the understanding and living in the astrology is you're watching the events unfold and doing the research and all of that, that is who you want to listen to when we are talking about eclipse season, or this thing is going to retrograde, or that thing is going back into another sign, or any of it. This is actually a fairly nice full moon. And a full moon is the culmination of things that we have worked on coming to fruition. A full moon is when the fruit is ripe that you planted and watered and moved around the yard and took and checked on and loved and made sure it had enough sun. The full moon is when we are picking the fruits of our labors. And when we see how that fruit ripened, whether we gave it too much sun or too much water, or not enough sun or not enough water, if it needed different companion plants to be planted with, whatever it was, this is when although this is very exciting and it can be a little chaotic, things are moving and happening. You are still being able to seize the moment of enjoying what you have created. And then based on what worked and what didn't work, that is where the shedding comes in. This is working in my life. This isn't working in my life. Let me give gratitude and release to what is not working, what no longer serves me. That is what full moons are about. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Today, I'm going to take a brief look at this full moon, okay? And a little bit of the astrology coming up, as I always do. And then we're going to pull cards. If you are in membership, we did a Ask Me Anything yesterday for gratitude and nerd members. Not everybody was able to attend. And so what I'm going to do is schedule a second one of those for the nerd and gratitude members that couldn't attend yesterday, so that you can ask me anything about your chart. You can ask me about a day coming up for you, or, you know, within a week period, something you're looking to happen, or we can pull cards. We actually had some very interesting tarot readings yesterday in membership, and some really interesting questions that then unfolded into really helpful conversations for everyone. So if you are in membership, that video is still worth a watch, even if you weren't in it, to ask your question. And we will do a second one so everybody gets their membership perks. I love all these beautiful faces in the chat. Let's roll into the astrology of it, shall we? I'm going to share my screen and take a sip of coffee. Nope, that's not my coffee. All right. Here's the Pisces full moon. You will notice this is in parentheses, the word eclipse. So if this is happening at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that means it's not in proximity to us as humans to move our body. It is not having the energetic impact that it is over on the other side of the world. Okay. So let's look at a couple of things. We have a full moon at 15 degrees and 23 minutes. It is holding hands, conjunct the nodes, which is really beautiful. Full moons are for truth. Pisces is run by Neptune and Jupiter, and Jupiter being its traditional ancient ruler, original ruler, and then Neptune being the other expression that we have added. And they really vibe together since the discovery of Neptune. We are talking about magnification and truth, culture. And Pisces is also, it's supposed to be that humanitarian consciousness, spiritual consciousness for everyone. It is deeply caring about people that you don't even know, because the empathy runneth over. Religion aside, it has been represented by the fish and has been associated with Christ consciousness. That is not about religion, Christianity, or Catholicism. That is about a man who fed the poor. and knocked over tables and befriended people that were the outcasts, marginalized demographics. It is not going to be about material things. It's going to be more about things that we cannot hold in our hand, but that we hold in our hearts, that we hold in our sense of kindness. And it is conjunct that North Node in Pisces. This is truth as the pathway. This is moving forward in your personal truth and as it relates to you, for not anything that maybe you could hold in your hand, but for you to recalibrate. And have that empathy, that grace, that gentleness for yourself. If you can have it for all of mankind, people that you've never met, you will never meet, then you can have it for yourself. Astrology is the best tool of empowerment you will ever find. And get right. This is something we talk about in membership. This is something I talk about in my sessions on my channel. Get right in your relationship with power. Many of us, and we see this a lot now out in the world, have had people who had power use that in an unkind way. They used it to overpower people. They used power to get what they wanted, and didn't blink at hurting others. That is not the full definition of power. That is how broken people use power. If you are hearing my voice, if you are coming here and you've had wounds and you've made mistakes, that is not broken. That is human. Broken is when you have no more empathy. Broken is if you don't care. Broken is when you go around intentionally hurting others. Being human, making mistakes, having regrets, that's not broken. You are not broken. You are not broken. You are not broken. You aren't too much, and you are enough. And when you think about, if I had all the money and the power in the world, I can promise you, if you're someone who's wandered into this community, or you're hearing my voice in any way right now, you are not going to use that money and power to hurt others, and see how you can get the most for yourself. And if other people die, get hurt, whatever, that is not you. Get right with your relationship with power, because power can be used to empower yourself and others. And if you're here, that's who you are. That's what you'll do with it. Take that part out of the equation, because our relationship with power is also sometimes what holds us back or gives us fear or anxiety around pulling in what looks like our best life on an individual basis, because we don't want to be those people, right? When we have this beautiful full moon, this culmination of the work you have put in. So this is probably about inner child work you've done, spiritual work you've done, work on accountability, work. This full moon holds truth, holds clarity. There's the most light in the room. You're going to see the detail. You're not missing anything here. And it is in a trine. It is applying. The moon moves the fastest. It is applying to Jupiter, which is one of its rulers, its ancient ruler. And that is in Cancer, which is protective and financial, by the way. Very strong. It moves. It moves things. It takes action. By the way, if you hear an astrologer calling Cancer crybabies over emotional red flag. This beautiful trine, the I love you more conversation, which we know because they're in the same elements, is magnifying the truth, the empowerment, and the way forward for us. You can absolutely use this. Absolutely. There's also Mercury isn't really applying. It's applying to the sun for sure. It's in a little cazimi, but it's not applying to the moon so much. Taking exaggeration and using our words are the most inexhaustible source of magic that is available to you, especially today, especially tomorrow. The other thing Jupiter represents is opportunity. You'll hear it being called lucky. I don't know that I love lucky, because lucky implies that we don't have as much agency in our life, in what we get. So I don't love that. And there are systems set up against certain demographics that probably would say that lucky is a matter of like opportunity, right? Like we can only be as lucky as the opportunities allow us. This full moon is ripe because it's a full moon, and then it's extra ripe because its rulership in Jupiter is in this gorgeous, gorgeous trine in an application to it of opportunity. It is very possible with many of you that you may get some kind of information, truth. You might hear something, find out something, and what you do with that opportunity, it's release. You could release yourself from something that was no longer serving you, that the unhealed younger part of you that needed to survive the early environment. I don't care if that was 10, 20, 30, 40, right? You may be all of a sudden having epiphanies today and tomorrow that a part of you that you needed to survive, you no longer need, and you can release. A relationship you thought was proving something or healing something because you thought somebody else was going to bring you what you didn't get from others that you needed. That was a basic necessity earlier in life, right? And you realize, oh no, I can give that to myself. It will be an opportunity for release. It'll be an opportunity to see truth. And the most important thing that you can do for this full moon is ground. Go touch grass, go find a tree, put your hand on it. If you don't live in a place where you can touch grass or put your hand on a tree, then make some salt water in a bowl and put your feet in it. Put your bare feet flat on the ground. Close your eyes, deep breath. Imagine that you're in the most perfect little place in a forest and you can hear water running. You are safe. The sun is shining just in a way where it's not hot, but it's warming your face. And you can feel the ground, and the leaves almost form like this pretty little shoe. And you feel one with everything. Breathe. Ground however you have to. If you can be grounded while seeing the truth, while taking the opportunity to release for this Pisces full moon, you can reap the fruits of your labors, your rewards. It is so, so ripe for that. Now, if you are in your head, and if you don't want to accept truths that move you out of someone else's potential or what the worst case scenario will be, you may not experience it as pleasant. But here's the beautiful thing. You can decide to ground. You can decide to not make decisions based on what you want someone else or something else to be. You can get high off your own supply. You can give that feeling to yourself. I mean, if you wanted to have a date tonight, would it be hella romantic? Yes. But also, if you wanted to make a bath with salts and rose petals and get your favorite snack and sit and watch your favorite movie from the bathtub, it's a very watery transit. From the bathtub, eating your favorite treats, indulging, and that's romantic. Get your coffee ready for tomorrow morning. Write a list about how every evening you can take 10 minutes and do things for tomorrow you. So tomorrow, and that means every day after that, you feel loved, you feel cared for. You're not waiting. There's no yawning chasm where you don't have someone that's doing that for you. And let me be clear, I'm not just talking to single people, because you can be in a relationship and feel single as fuck and not cared for and not getting your needs met. You can be in a house full of people, or you could be by yourself. The point is that it's not about the other people, right? Give that same empathy and grace and understanding and nurturing that you have for people that you have never even met to yourself. Look for the truth. And if the truth feels like, I wish I didn't know that, try not to take it ground and try not to take it personal, and understand that your guides and universe, whoever your higher power is, they love the fuck out of you. They're never trying to punish you. They are trying to be the light on the path when they're giving you a truth that sometimes is a little harder to swallow. But if you are grounded and you take it and see it as empowerment, I promise you, this is an amazing fucking full moon. Amazing. Two quick announcements before I pull cards. One, I would love everybody, and if you're watching this later, please leave a comment. I would like everybody to wish our amazing, amazing Juan a happy birthday. Technically, his birthday is tomorrow, but his solar return is today. And he helps me beyond. He's the reason that you all have timestamps 99% of the time. I think there's only been 3 times that it wasn't him. And those timestamps are given to me before I press end stream. He is an amazing, amazing human. In membership, he is known as Astro Daddy, Astro Zaddy. But we love him. He is our norm. He, I truly, truly love Juan. I'm going to cry. Such a Pisces full moon moment with that Jupiter Cancer. He is a truly good human. And if you all knew in all the ways that he's contributed to this community so unselfishly and so wanting to help everyone, he's just an amazing human. So happy birthday, Juan. We all love you. And you're my favorite, Tin Man. 58 and counting. I'm not mad at my 50s. We have Zoe and Juan both gearing up for their Saturn returns, but one's the first one and one's the second one. We love this community. I am very grateful for this community. It doesn't have to be 200,000 people. It's an incredible community and incredibly supportive. Also, when you join membership, there is a Discord, and the Discord link changed. So if for some reason you can't, if you're in membership, but there's even a place that you don't need me to all get together and be supportive to each other. The other announcement is that we have limited spots. I'm teaching trauma-informed tarot. It won't start till the 24th of September. It's 4 nights with the discount, because you're coming to my channel and you are supporting the channel. So if you are hearing about the trauma-informed tarot class here, there is a TI tarot, all caps, 50% off code. You can find that on woke astrology.com on Lori Rivers' website under classes. It will only cost you $40. Like I want to say it's like 40 something dollars for the 4 classes. So it's a little over $10 each class. We're going to be going over discernment. We're going to go over how to pick a deck. We're going to go over how to use it to strengthen your own gifts, why tarot is such a beautiful way to start to form language and interpretation with your guides. So you're like, they're trying to tell me something, but what? We're going to talk about, for you, just to use the deck for yourself, but also when you are listening to other readers, some of the red flags, and also how to grow your discernment. It's beyond memorization. It's not one of those classes, because for that you could just, there's a million ways to memorize the cards. So it's going way beyond that. It's a little over $10 a class when you break it down, but there are limited seats. If you're in membership, you have a bigger discount, which I believe is up on the membership tab, but it is limited spots. I know, and I keep getting notifications that people have signed up, because it's going to be live on Zoom. There's going to be tons of question and answers. There's going to be worksheets. And so there will be limited spots, because I want to make sure that everybody's getting their worth for the class. And also, if you've never met me and you're just seeing this now, you can go over on susieevolutionary.com. I'll put the link there too, but you can go read my reviews. About tarot, so that you know that somebody who's teaching you the class has been doing this quite a long time, and why I'm so passionate about teaching you how to connect to your guides, how to create language, how to also create discernment, how to use it as a tool of self-empowerment, as well as reading beyond. And then there's 2 more tiers. And then as we go through the tiers, the last tier ends with a certification for people who really want to practice. And we'll go into synthesization, all kinds of things. So each tier will get more in depth. But the first class is great for everyone. And again, it's like $10 and change a class. It's nothing. But limited seats. Okay. Let's start. So what I'm going to look into with our cards today for each sign is, we're going to look at, it is a very romantic moon. So I'm going to pull 2 cards for opportunity and 2 cards for love. And whether that's we'll pull 1 card for love outside of yourself, and we'll pull 1 card for what you can do to nurture and love yourself better. Okay. So for each sign, here we go. Aries. I love the love that Juan is getting. can be mad at me later. Okay, I'm just gonna also, we're gonna talk about spiritual hygiene when you're practicing and how to discern whether you're pulling cards for what you want or what your guides are trying to tell you, all of that stuff. It's gonna be good. Okay. Would one of my lovelies in the chat mind just going over to Woke Astrology and finding the link for the class and posting it in the chat? That would be amazing. Amazing. Okay, Aries, what are the possible opportunities? We have the Emperor. Step into your own sense of power, the kind of power that will grow yourself, everything else. Look how, I want to say surplantis, look how abundant this is. This is ripe. This is an Emperor card that's looking to grow and change and not just sit in ego. But the point is, Pisces, is sometimes you will defer to others. You may feel overpowered. And, you know, Pisces is so incredible at Aries, for this Pisces full moon. And this is your card, by the way, Aries. We want you to step into the power that makes you grow. And in a Pisces full moon, that Pisces energy talks about, we can understand. Thank you, Juan. We can understand that we're this little tiny one person on this giant planet in this giant, you know, Earth and these giant cosmos. They have a sense, in that this Pisces full moon, we're going to be very aware of others. And so still there's opportunity to step into your power, and that does not make you selfish. Saturn just moved back into Pisces. But part of Saturn is stepping into who you are meant to be, into your self-actualization. It's not just punishment. Something else we cover in membership. There's a whole learning series, and I go through all the houses and all the planets and everything else. And that's one thing we talk about Saturn. It's not just punishment. It could be light bondage. There's fun ways that we can use Saturn as restraint. You know, it doesn't all have to be bad. That's what she said. But with this card, the opportunity is truly to look and see how you can grow and not see it as selfish, not interpret to yourself in your head that it is selfish. I'm going to put the to have power. That is the code so that you get 50% off the class. Also, if you end up doing all 3 classes, each time you add another class, it's another discount because it like bundles it. Because I didn't want people to have to make the decision. Like, take the first class. It costs almost nothing. And then if you love that, then you know whether you want to put money down on the other classes. I feel like that's fair. Hi, water bearer. Hey, little John. Okay, Aries, what is... Okay. It's interesting. Aries, if you were talking to like a Sagittarius, because Aries and Sag can really vibe, that might have something to do with it. But whatever your relationship's romantic or not, I have a 2 of Wands in reverse. Often when I get the Two of Wands, especially as a singular card, because we're not kind of putting this all together, right? These are singular subjects that we're pulling these cards. With this Two of Wands, we could feel like I'm here, but I'm passionate to be someplace else. And I feel like there's a block. Whoever you're dealing with, there could be a little bit of a shift. Maybe they're going to use this full moon as a way to be grounded in truth and light and movement forward, right? Um, thank you. I did not realize I still had that up. Time for Susie to put on her glasses. I'm getting new glasses finally because these are all scratched up and they hurt my head. So we have that gorgeous Emperor. That was your first card to step into the power, but it is this growing power and it's not selfish. Aries sometimes can be told they're selfish or they're, they're only worried about them. And that's Aries is the advocate. So that's loadable. That is the difference between archetype and stereotype. That's something else that we talk about a lot on this channel. But with this Two of Wands in reverse, we have somebody who's like dreaming they would like to be someplace else other than where they are. This also could represent somebody who was thinking of moving and wanted to be non-committal or something, but there may have been a situation where somebody thought they had to move or can't, like there is a shift and it doesn't, and that's easy for humans to do, right? We can feel like we put a lot of energy into what things aren't. This is about just being grounded in. I feel like Aries, you will see a difference in a relationship in your life. There is opportunity to maybe have a conversation, to live in the moment. Aries is fire and it's cardinal. And so being present, slowing down, and living in the moment is kind of always important. And it's not something that comes organic. So it's something we have to use as a practice. Let's pull, but it looks like there's a shift in a relationship and someone's being a little bit more grounded. And sometimes when people aren't grounded, that's when they can get scared and run. They can ghost. They can be non-committal, even though everything else, the connection is there and you can't figure out what is going on with this person. And how can you nurture yourself? Where is the light forward? How can you foster or yourself in this beautiful full moon? Oh my. Okay. So there's two cards. We have the 1111 card here. This is the Four of Wands, not so shabby. There is two people on it, right? There might be anxiety around relationships that you like the beginning, but then you get bored. And it probably doesn't come off as anxiety for you, Aries. It may come off depending on your placements. But if you're somebody you're like, yeah, that doesn't resonate, Suze, I don't have anxiety. What this is going to be looking like is masking and feeling like the new car smell wore off. The love that you need to give yourself is that you're not going to mess it up. I'm going to say this. I'm a big believer in this. If your intention when you get into a relationship is to love somebody and care for them, and you're not just pretending, right? So like you're a genuine person, and I don't think anybody hearing me right now isn't a genuine person. I don't think that my truth bomb mouth would attract people who are not genuine. I would be repellent for them. Longevity and stability are not the same. Longevity is not success. The one constant in life is change. And also, if you are also allowed to be in the moment and live in the moment and slow things down and enjoy everything and enjoy somebody, and maybe you're not supposed to hold their hand into notebook kind of, together for everything. People change. If we want everyone to grow, we want everyone to live their best life, at some point that road might split. And it doesn't mean you're going to fuck it up, because if anyone is still looking to find a relationship or feel satisfaction around themselves through the mirror of others, it means that nothing has worked out yet. And so a lot of times people will put like, there's accountability, and then there's self-shame. And we have to find the sweet spot. The love you need to give yourself is like, it's okay to stay. It's okay to think that it's possible for you to have a really beautiful, rich partnership with somebody, because you can't fuck it up, because you don't, have open conversations. This is a very truthful full moon. If you find somebody else who also wants to live in the moment, that is probably the most important thing. Because if you're Aries, your growth game is probably strong, and it's probably not, you've probably outgrown people, or, or chose people that were there to move you through lessons. And it starts out real passionate, like, how can this not be it? And then all of a sudden it's just not what it was, right? But the love you're supposed to give yourself is like, if something doesn't last forever, it doesn't mean that's because you're destined to fuck things up. And that's important, because then we will deny and avoid and all kinds of other things when we have a good situation there. Okay. Taurus. It's not that no one else will so much. It's that no one else has to. Like, we are capable of giving ourselves those things. And then when we find somebody who's honoring themselves and we're honoring ourselves, and we're just sharing. You're supposed to complete you. Jerry Maguire fucked us all up. Okay, Taurus. What is the opportunity? What is the opportunity? Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. For you, the opportunity, we have the Empress card. So I'm just going to say, if you have second house placements, if you're a Taurus rising, sun, moon, and possibly Venus, but also if you have strong second house placements, there's this is not for everyone, but you might be a little extra fertile, because full moons can bring that anyway. But you might be a little extra fertile right now. So do that with that information what you will, because that is your part. But also, this again is another, it's funny because Aries got the Emperor and you all got the Empress. Now, this came out sideways. There may be a project or something that you kind of in your mind know it works in concept. And you don't want to be seen as unstable. There is opportunity here for you to start a project that's probably going to be very creative, and it might feel outside of the very tangible world that you feel more comforted by, because this might be a little bit more abstract, a little less tangible, but it still grows you, but also satiates. But there's an opportunity here, and it may come in the form of a friend saying, hey, do you want to do this with me? And you don't want to overcommit. And I'm telling you that with it sideways, there's a project. There's a project here that needs you, that will be better with you, and that you will feel, you know, you will feel a sense of pride and even more if you take it. And I feel like it could be part-time too, Taurus. All right, let's pull a card for relationships. Ooh. Okay. This is going to go one or two ways. One, you could be in a relationship that you think is ending and it's not. If you come to the table with really, really open communication and no one's afraid to hurt each other's feelings, but also try not to do the avoidance thing. There could be something that could be fixed. For others of you, there could be a relationship that needs to exit, that has gotten all the way, anything that you could squeeze out of it. This is what is up for release. Taurus, you've heard me say it a lot, is like asking a Taurus to like really change out of something, whether it's pleasant or not, doesn't matter as much as whether it's the other side of the change that can feel really uncomfortable. They need to really be ready. Then once they move things, they really move things. But it's that anticipation of the movement. The 10 of Wands in reverse gives an indicator that something's been done, and it feels heavy and it feels weighty, and for some reason you've acclimated to it, right? That whole like asking the Taurus to just change things up willy-nilly is like asking a redwood to unroot and walk out of California. But there is something here that will benefit you and lighten you up to release. Now, what can we do to nurture ourselves, Taurus? What do we need to know? What do your guides want you to know about what you're, maybe don't have full appreciation for yourself, need to nurture yourself? The love that you can give yourself. Get high off your own supply card. There is something that you think, Taurus rising, sun, moon, Venus, and second house, sun and moon. There is something that you think that you just, it either skipped you, it could have been, it could be a million different things, but this is unrequited like this. And universe was protecting you from something, but you just felt like, of course, everyone else gets that and I don't. I want you to see things that you feel like missed you, or that you don't get, or that you must have been a bad person in another life, any of that kind of languaging, that was protection, and that whatever that thing is now, when it comes in, it is going to be very beautiful. But there is nothing that you don't deserve, that you don't get. The way to nurture yourself is to release the idea that you're a person who can't find somebody who will get you as you are, and it's not about the other person, it's about understanding that you deserve all that, and that anytime that you feel like it missed you, that was probably protection. Okay, let's look at Gemini. You guys tell me what you want too, because like this is, this is for my entire channel. If you're watching this later or whatever, and you want me to do like a whole, I don't mind doing love readings because I think I approach them in a way that's like there's something healthy for you in it as well. I try not to do the toxic love reading. We're going to talk about that in the tarot class too. But if you guys want me to just do a whole ass like love reading for each sign, I will do that. I've got some physical stuff going on anyway that's got me kind of more planted in the bed than I would like to be. Okay. In this deck, there is a male and female presenting of each of the kings and also the two emperors. We have the other emperor, Gemini. There is an opportunity for you to release trying to control the outcome. Nothing that you're going to do one way or the other, no amount of back and forth trying to find the sweet balance, exploring and making sure everybody's like, you're trying to look at both sides of the coin, because to you that's fair, right? And everything, why would we keep anything unexplored? This is an opportunity for you to, because let's look at this emperor. We have people on marionette strings, on puppet strings, right? This is about manipulation, but this is upside down for you, Gemini. For some of you, it's not about the manipulation so much. It's you have to release that there's no way to control whatever this situation is. For other of you, stop letting people tell you because you look at both sides of the coin and that you can embrace duality, that you are manipulative, two-faced. I hate that. Don't call Geminis two-faced. That's so reductionary. And if the best that you can say about somebody is that they're two-faced, then you probably need a bigger vocabulary. Stop slandering Gemini, please. You might be in a situation, there's an opportunity to leave where somebody else is controlling your potential. Listen, what we allow will continue, but this is your opportunity to escape. That could be a work situation too, where you're being limited. And you haven't been able to settle on just leaving. Also, when you lose your job around a full moon, it's probably because scared of leaving. And if something happens, it's to move you into a better direction. Generally, people who lose their jobs around full moons, it's a favor we can't see as a favor yet. But yeah, that is don't let people tell you that you are unstable, erratic, any of that stuff. But this really could be a work situation where you came into that place, or it could be a social situation where you came in and you had so much admiration for somebody that you felt like, oh, that's goals, that's skill, that's whatever. And now you've grown, because Geminis want the information. They're going to grow. They're going to learn. They are a learning sign. And so you might have now moved past the person that you used to admire and just releasing yourself mentally from thinking that you still need to let them tell you whether you're ready or not. Yeah, you can get released from any manipulation or any kind of like, no, you should stay here now. Especially from people that you used to admire. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let's pull a card for relationship. That card flipped on top of my hand. If it's supposed to come back, it'll come back. Okay. Um, this is, so if you're in a long distance, you might be moving. Somebody's going to have to move to the other person, but there's enough legs and juice in this relationship that you will want to move. For others of you, and this is what we talked about, sometimes the truth doesn't, like, we have to live in the grounded reality. If you are in a situationship, if you are talking to someone and they are still really attached to somebody else, even if they're saying they don't like them, or all they have is like, this person's so toxic, this, that, the other thing, they could be attached to not losing people or feeling disposable. They could be attached to, I can't have another failed relationship. It doesn't really mean that they're attached to that person. But there's also, this is the important part, Gemini, there's nothing else you're going to do, give them in bed, act a certain way, try to be more like that other person that they can't seem to actually fully end things with or completely cut contact with, that seems to be getting in the way. That's not about you. And it's not even about the other person. It's about their attachment to another failed relationship. Or I don't know why, but I'm getting this for some of you, Gemini. This is rising sun, moon. This person your person could have been in a relationship with somebody else who never made them feel safe, always made them feel like they were going to get not chosen over somebody else, or maybe they didn't let go of their ex. And so letting this person go, they know that they're just going to run to that other person. And it's that feeling like there's an attachment to winning or losing instead of just not being in a toxic connection. They're going to work that out in their own time. It's probably going to be slow, but there's nothing you need to do different one way or the other to make that happen faster, or to be better than the other person, or to capture your person's love, loyalty, commitment more. It's not about either of the other two. It's about that person's attachment of winning, losing, what's theirs, what's not theirs, and what someone else can't have. It has nothing to, you are good enough. You are amazing as you are. Lord knows it's not because you're not interesting, because if you're a Gemini placement, you are interesting. It doesn't have to be, I'm not even pulling cards on what you have to release. I'm not doing that. I'm looking at what the opportunity is. And I'm looking at any kind of like romantic situation, what you need to know that would benefit you to either, move through it or whatever else. If the card organically comes up as it might be good to release a person, sometimes it's releasing a relationship habit or a trauma response thing that's so subtle and nuanced that we don't even realize we're doing it. Okay. And for yourself, what is the love you can give yourself, Gemini? I have a ton of Gemini in my life. It almost feels like you need a little bit of rest. Sometimes with Geminis, the busyness keeps them from feeling, so masking is high among all signs, but Geminis are extra, it just is organically kind of easy to mask because they can get in their head, right? We can go into the cerebral things of things and they're brilliant around that. But again, grounding and creating a safe place to feel all the feelings because you have to renegotiate your sense of power and growth. So Geminis, if we're going to go through this, we're starting the signs. There's an intro to signs that's going up in membership on Tuesday. And then we're going to go through the signs. But one of the things we're going to go through is like the common early environment thing that each sign may go through. With Gemini, to stay safe, they may have had to mold themselves to different people and market themselves in certain ways. And that was for genuine safety. Offering exactly who you are and not, and it is a genuine part of you for each person, right? You can genuinely, that's the thing about Geminis. You could throw them in one room with one sort of group and another room, and they will flourish in both genuinely because they had to be different people to different people just for safety, just to feel like they were accepted or loved at times, that they organically grew the duality in their personality out of survival. And you are not supposed to be this one-dimensional creature. It's why we love Geminis and their creative energy. Also, make sure that you are not changing yourself or others in any way, coming back to fully who you are, and then not, if you feel like somebody's not vibing with it, let them not vibe. You're not a jar of Nutella. This is a practice that is going to increase your sense of self-esteem so much. Do not package yourself for others in any way. You are already so multidimensional. There are so many people that are probably interested in having conversation with you, or friendships or what have you. You already have so much to offer because you are organically built in that flexibility. Okay. Cancers. Cancers. Little John, we don't care what account you're here on. We just care that you're here. Okay. Woo! Cancer, your opportunity here. This is very interesting. By the way, when I shuffle for Cancer, the whole time I'm in my head muttering, not for me, not for me, not for me. Hey, Jazzy. I'm just going to pin. There we go. Now listen, I love the Tower card. I love the Tower card. The Tower card is not bad. The Devil card is not bad. Blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about that in the class. So when we get the Tower in reverse, you probably created an opportunity, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, fourth house, Sun and Moon. You probably changed a behavior in an authentic way, evidently, that shifted something. Cancers know how to do battle. They're cardinal. They're known to throw hands because they've had to. They prefer to be the soft, warm underbelly that hides underneath the shell. That's not usually an opportunity that's afforded Cancer, which is why they have pincers and crab shells, and they know how to go sideways if they have to, and they can crawl inside that shell for a while and isolate if they need to. That doesn't mean they're anti-conflict, because they're not. They're cardinal, and they will throw hands if you put them in a position to, especially if you make them have to defend somebody they love. When we get the Tower card upside down in a reading where I'm asking, where's the opportunity here? I think that we are used to fighting. I think that what has ever happened in the last couple of years, I almost want to say, there feels like a lot of fighting or things in crisis. And that would make sense, right? Because Pluto was in your sign, in the opposite sign for so long. You had the eclipse in Aries and the like, so there's just been a lot of movement and squaring and opposing your placements. Last year about this time, there was like a grand square. It was October, but there was a cardinal grand square. So just a ton of movement. Your opportunity is to ask universe in this non-tangible full moon to just bring in that you're going to tell your guides, I no longer am expecting crisis. It's none of my business how the good stuff gets to me, but I am no longer expecting crisis. I am expecting things to get easier, because they are. But the more that you can release, you know how to be ready. Cancer, you are cardinal. You can get tough when you have to. You can be soft when you prefer to. You know how to be protective. You know how to like isolate. You have all the skills. God forbid crisis comes anyway for some reason or on the collective level. You can handle it. Not only for you, but for everybody. You can invite other people into that crab shell and protect them too. You don't need to stay in the hyper vigilance of that every day. It's going to be better for your health. And you're just going to have a conversation with universe, your guides, however you meditate, whoever your higher power is, that from this moment on, that you will not be operating out of expecting crisis every moment, and that you are working on your hypervigilance, lowering your cortisol, lowering your nervous system, expanding a little bit, because that's another conversation, how the nervous system works. But to not be in that hypervigilant state anymore, that is your opportunity, which is amazing. And don't quantify it. This can only come in or that can only change unless this or this. I say that all the time. Other people's opinions of us are none of our fucking business. And how the universe gets us our money, our love, our best life, whatever, is also none of our fucking business. Just assume that that's how it's going to come in, and just do you, because the way you do you anyway, you're not going to be selfish. You're not going to be, you don't have to, again, you don't have to like make sure everything is exactly where it is all the time. Just it is the release of letting go, and letting go of the idea that everything is going to continue to be crisis. That's going to help your molecular energy too. Okay. A card for relationships, love, balance comes in. It's that simple, Cancer. Balance is coming in. The ruler of this full moon is in your sign, Cancer, and it's in a lovely, beautiful, harmonious trine. So you have the moon holding hands with the north node, lighting the path forward, and then having the I love you more conversation applying to that Jupiter in your sign. You know, in tarot, Venus and Cancer is the Two of Cups. It's reciprocity. It's getting what you give. And when a Cancer gets back what they give, it's balance. Balance is coming your way. And don't forget, the energy of a full moon lasts for 6 months, but it really goes until the next time we have a full moon in Pisces, which will be about a year. Okay. And what is the best thing to do for yourself? That was a bunch. We're going to talk about that in the class too. It's like, when is it a real card pull? Does it have to flip? How can you pull your cards? Should there be 100 cards on the table? Can you get a good reading out of one? I'm so excited. Sorry. Ooh. Allowing other people to do things for you and not feeling like that is weird or selfish is how you're going to give yourself the most amount of love and grace. Yes, you have wisdom, stepping into interdependence. And also, we don't ever talk about Cancer and control, right? We talk about Cancer and like nurturing and blah, blah, blah. But to keep everyone safe, we like to know where everything is, where are all the doors, exits. What can I control? If I do this ahead of time, then no one will get hurt by it. Without meaning to, this becomes a little bit of having control issues, letting that go, and just knowing that it can't all be your responsibility to preemptively protect everyone from everything, and that letting other people do things for you as well, which probably feels foreign. And so you have balance and interdependence both. So if you practice the interdependence and letting other people do things for you, and that doesn't mean you're slipping on your job, that's probably what's going to create the balance in whichever relationship we're talking about there. Okay, Zoe, I owe you an email. Leo, you got your own card. Your opportunity is strength. And I want you to look at how gentle strength is. One of the things, if you've been following me on my channel for, it's over 5 years that I've had like an official YouTube channel. Yeah. It's almost 6. But we are the strongest when we can stand in our vulnerability and still feel strong, Leo. We are our strongest when we can stand in our vulnerability and still feel strong. Do you see the gentleness in the strength card? Do you see how symbiotic it is? That the strength and the vulnerability are the same thing. That is your opportunity. Not to be tough, not to be perfect, not to be any of that. We are the strongest when we are standing in our vulnerability. And we still feel strong. Bye, Zoe. Okay, let's see what we have for love. Not tough, not perfect. It feels like a big change, Leo, whatever you're doing. Okay. You're getting the same card as this was Gemini's card, in the same position, in the same. You may be dealing with somebody, Leo, that has their own attachment issues that has nothing to do with you. If they cannot, I feel like we're in a situation here, and it may not be romantic, but it doesn't matter who it is, the relationship. I feel like we're in a situation here where you'll give them a compliment, they don't give you one back. Like, you don't know if they are fully, you feel like you can't get the approval or the acknowledgement sometimes, even of things like you feel like you do. This is a them thing. There might be a lack of basic appreciation that's being extended verbally. I don't know that there's a full lack of appreciation being felt, but it is not being acknowledged. I'm going to do for Leo. And Leo, just, you've been through it, right? With those transits. Yeah. Okay. For a couple of you, this is what that person is capable of. So then you just have to make a decision. Is that, maybe that everything else is great and you can't get that part of them. And maybe that is so that you can heal that and get high off your own supply. And just not expect that from them. Some people are not verbally forthcoming all the time, but they would do anything for you. Obviously, having the conversation, choosing the right words. Words are our most inexhaustible source of magic. But yes, they're having that's their own stuff. So I don't want you to take it personal. I don't want you to take it personal. How can you give yourself the most love? This is one of my favorite cards, period, the whole deck. My favorite cards are probably not what people would either think or what, most people would look at as the best cards in the deck. When we get that Nine of Pentacles, this is everything coming to fruition. It's kind of mini full moon on a daily basis. I don't want you to concentrate on what somebody else is or is not capable of giving you, nor do I want you to concentrate on whether you're not getting it because you're not worth it. You are. You very much are, Leos. First of all, this could be a little bit of money coming your way also. But this is like the card of, the picking the fruits of your labors. And this is sitting in knowing you're the shit. I mean, it really is, in a good way, because you did the work, not out of entitlement. Like, you planted it, you picked the fruit. Look how abundant, colorful, and look at the serene peace on her face. It is the best, one of the two best self-esteem, self-value cards. Be completely vulnerable and completely know that you're the shit up in this bitch. both. And that other person's issues with what they can't give because they're holding on to other stuff is their issues. And then you can decide what you want to do with that. Virgos. You know, I always pull cards for the actual astrology. So we are predicting in the context. So I can use the cards to help you get messages, your guides in the context of what is already happening astrologically and energetically, because we want to marry those. And also it gives us the same cards a lot. It gives us the same cards in the same reading. So this is the second time we got the same card in the same position and I am shuffling and shuffling and shuffling. Virgo, it's the same thing for you. You can come out. The opportunity is to come out of hypervigilance, that we are not consistently expecting crisis. Now we're getting ready. We're gonna change over in the winter to we will late winter, early spring, we're going to be changing over our nodes, and we're going to be moving in, right? We're halfway through them. So we've got another 8 months or so. Having the South Node in your sign, Virgo, is sometimes it feels like old trigger after old trigger after old trigger is coming up. I don't, it's not crisis. It's supposed to be showing you how far you've come. Because you'll notice when those old like if you're not dealing with the old people anymore, you created a boundary. You've left the toxic people by the side of the road, as you should, if they're really toxic and won't change. So sometimes universe will bring you these people in another form and in a way that you don't see coming, right? Just to see how far you've come. And that's the thing. It's not the idea that you're constantly going to be in crisis. This is, I don't know any Virgos that don't love a good quiz, like a test, because we know we're going to do well on it. It's very Hermione Granger. This is more like you acing a test that the universe is giving you. It's not crisis. It's not crisis. It's not crisis. It's showing you how differently you deal with a similar situation with your new tools and the new healed version of yourself. Because if you have Virgo placements, your growth game again is very strong. Mercurial run placements, and this is also 6th house sun, 6th house moon. You're here to evolve. You're here to constantly be self-refining. That doesn't mean, get out of the mindset that equates crisis. The same way that stability and does not equate longevity. Like something doesn't have to have longevity to create stability, is the same way that self-refinement doesn't mean that we constantly have to be in crisis. Um, and things may, after this, especially after the South Node, things just may feel, and especially after this, I don't know what it is for you Virgos, that I'm feeling the new moon in Virgo on the 21st. I know it's an eclipse, but again, it's eclipse happening in the middle of the day. It's not really happening like an eclipse. It's just happening like a new moon. It's a little bit tense, but not like the last one we just had. It's the second new moon, which is a once in a black moon, not once in a blue moon. If you hear somebody saying once in a blue moon, red flag, especially if they're saying they're an astrologer. So I just want you to release the idea that it's crisis and that you're always getting crisis situations. There's something else there for Virgo, and I'm just chewing on whether I say it out loud or not. Just because you can help, and because you do know better, and because you do possibly have a solution, and because you can see somebody doing something that potentially does not mean that you have to run in and give all of your energy, because Virgos, like Aquarians, sometimes attract what we like to call ask holes. They constantly want your advice. They're not going to take it anyway. And then you might take it personal, like they think that you were full of shit, whatever. So just because you can see that you could step in and help, one, that might be that person's journey. And they're just going to make the same mistake again if you help them, if you do it for them. And that's going to also help relieve the idea that things constantly feel like crisis, because people around you know that you have solutions and that you can't help yourself but help. Here's your relationship card, Virgos. Sixth house suns. This is beautiful. This is absolutely a divine connection, universal connection, 1111. If you are in a steady relationship, this could mean within the next 6 months you have engagement or wedding. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous card, because it means whatever this union, whatever we are celebrating, it doesn't have to be romantic, but it often is. It is meant, this could be you finding your new best friend. This could be you finding a business partner that totally gets you, that's going to feel like such a soulmate. I am absolutely thrilled for Virgo. So see, it doesn't get out of this mindset so that you're not worried that this is another crisis, because it's not. It's beautiful. Woohoo, Virgos. And I mean that if you are Virgo in a relationship, that it makes sense, right? Because it has to be in the context. If you're single, you may not be getting engaged in the next 6 months. And if you're single and you get engaged in the next 6 months, that might not be the best thing. But in the context of you're in a it could be engagement or wedding in the next 6 months. Okay. It's more of the same. And it's so funny because I felt like I had to say it. How you give yourself your own love is, don't be that person. Sometimes we're so busy saying like, oh, they're going to mess that up, or they're going to make more work for themselves, or they're going to, that we give them all the information, we give them all of our energy. Saying no to helping, even if you can, is not selfish. It's reciprocity and it's balance. Virgos are not control freaks. They want to make sure that they are operating at the highest, most ethical, most informed level possible, because they're going to use that information and that energy to serve others. I have a friend that is a sixth house sun, and they're not even a Virgo. They have a few Virgo placements, but like one, I think. But they're always talking about like, it makes me happy to serve. It makes me happy to serve. That's what it is. It's not because they want to be better so they can say I'm better than you. I mean, if you met somebody right now, I'm saying if you get married, if you're single now and you're getting married in the next 6 months, if you met somebody now and or you're getting back together with somebody where whatever, or, late in life, who the fuck is waiting 3 years to get engaged? But, and I'm talking like 60s or 70s. I'm talking like a little Marty Short, Meryl Streep action. Do y'all know that they got together after doing Murders in the Building and that they're like in a real life, like I am living for Martin Short and Meryl Streep together. And if that doesn't say strong women who have everything worked out for themselves just want like a funny, nice guy, I don't know what does. Meryl fucking Streep. Okay. Oh my goodness, I love this. Libras. The opportunity here is that there is, hey there, welcome. Welcome, Lee. For Libras, there is a beautiful opportunity here. So the Knight of Wands, you know how I'm always talking about the Knights. I like I like the Knights better in reverse, right? Because the Knight of Wands might just be like the panty dropping. They're not here for a long time. They're here for a good time. There is an opportunity here. Now, if you are a pretty little Libra and you're charming as fuck, there might be somebody who can't get their shit together and is in and out, and you put a boundary down here. There's an opportunity for somebody who is not consistent in showing up. No matter what sign you are, I'm going to put this offering on the table. You could leave it there. You don't have to pick up everything in the buffet that I put down as an offering. But if you have somebody like that, there's two things that will change everything. Not out of manipulation and not because we can change who somebody is. But one of the things that I like to say is, do you know what I find really sexy? Consistency. Be your charming Venus, sexy self, Libras. And tell them that what you find really so insatiably sexy is consistency. And then you're going to have to execute the boundary on the other side of that statement, which is when they're not consistent, you're not answering back. This is going to help you vet. Your neighbor Scorpio is so good at vetting, and Libras are a little less good. And they want to be fair to everybody, right? And everything is like subjective. It is the evening star expression of Venus. Beauty in the eye of the beholder and all. Whether this is a person in friendship or romance or whatever, do you know what I find like the best thing in friendship is consistency? Do you know what I find really sexy? Consistency. Whoever this is about, I don't think they'll expect it from you, but the empowerment that you will experience from saying that and then actually executing the other side of that will be life-changing. Libra and Pisces, sometimes they say have a lot. They actually are what we would call quincunx or in conjunct. They don't share a modality, a polarity, or an element. And yet, they can have some similar vibes because they're both about like the higher octave of the exaltation of Venus is in Pisces. And because where Taurus Pisces is that very grounded, what you can hold in your hand, the money, the hug, the cupcake, right? That Venus is that subjective expression. It is the words. It is, right? Is that, yeah, it's a subjective. And so we can live in the subjective. Sometimes the Libra placements, and I've got a big old one. I've got two. And so grounding and feeling like it's not scary to hold. It's not about making the boundary, it's about executing the boundary, right? Okay. What's interesting about this is then I pulled the second card for relationship stuff, and we have the devil in reverse. Now, first of all, this is not a scary devil card. Okay, look at that. It looks like a spider and a ladybug had a baby. It's not that scary. The devil represents bad habits. We'll get into that more in the class, but it is not the scary, awful card that everyone thinks it is. When it is reversed, and this is about a relationship with somebody else is starting to see their own bad habits and might be working on that. Now, I'm not going to lie. For some of you, this person is working on that quietly. In silence, maybe not in contact. But they are changing. I'm hearing the song from Dream Girls. They are working on their shit. The nice thing is they're not working on their shit through you. Don't take it personal if you're seeing them a little less. This could be a friend, a family member, or a romantic thing. But I find it interesting that for the opportunity is to step into that power, ask for consistency, and not get swept away in the artistic expression of Venus, the subjective, and execute that boundary. And then we get, for the relationship card, we have somebody working on. So can you just say to somebody, I need you to be more consistent and execute a boundary, and they're going to change and sustain that change? No, that's not realistic. We can't make another person do anything. And also, we teach people how to treat us. When we do something where we are executing that boundary truly for ourselves to step into the next chapter of us and not to evoke a reaction or manipulate a behavior from somebody else, that is when we get all the goodness out of it. Your card for yourself, Nikki agrees. Your card for yourself is the Magician. Libras, you are Venusian, 7th house placement, sun or moon in the 7th house. You are literally magic when it comes to pulling in what you want with that Venus. Venus is the attraction. It is the level of self-value. Especially this increases. If you do this will increase your sense of self-value. Like you need it. Like everybody needs that, right? It will be amazing. From there, when we calibrate our sense of self and our own self-value, that is when we recalibrate the antenna that is Venus, that attracts. Venus is not love and money. Venus is the calibrated sense of self-worth of what we are allowed to bring in around love and money. I'll die on that hill. And it's not sex either. Mars is how you slide into home. Venus is how you get them to the arena. Okay, Scorpio, how the hell you doing? How you doing? I almost said something, but I won't. Okay. Scorpio, what is the opportunity? I feel like we're about to get a visit from Nikki because wow. Okay. There is something major to heal. Listen, Scorpio is really good at looking under the rock and examining and getting to a deeper place that other people can't see. They are deep scuba when everybody else is light snorkeling. Okay. It's so funny because I just had a session with somebody. I get a lot of Scorpio rising, like a lot, like inordinate amount. For there's 12 rising signs. The amount of Scorpio rising I get, I love because they're no bullshit. So it always feels like a little feather in my cap when a Scorpio rising chooses me for an astrological consult, because they probably feel like I'm no bullshit either. And they would know. But they said something about like, I just want to do a light snorkel of, and I was like, that is such, only like a Scorpio placement would quantify how deep they want the reading to be, whether they want to just lightly go over the events of the next 6 months, or whether they want to like, hey, I'm having an issue with this, let's put guts on the table, right? There is something, again, because you guys are amazing at looking under the rock and allowing yourself the examination. There is something big to be healed, and a Scorpio rising LOL'd me. So then I know I'm on to something. um yeah, there is something huge. This is an opportunity. And don't forget, if you have Scorpio placements, especially if you have Scorpio placements between 15 and 20 degrees, you're having a grand trine with the full moon and the North Node and that Jupiter in Cancer, which is really, really beautiful. There is space to heal something deep. But the difference is with the North Node and the truth and the kindness and the gentleness of Pisces and Cancer here, Scorpio, that it's not going to be the same. I'm digging up and I'm just going to find pain and it's going to trigger me. This is literally something that comes in that you realize is that moment when you are healing that old wound, that inner child. There's support instead of just pain. Woo! I like that for you. Okay. Could it be you're falling in love? Okay, this is so interesting. You got two cards. This card, let me tell you something. These card and this card, it's like two of these things are just like the other. This is healing a pain, and this is getting ready to release something that you're so acclimated to whatever that old wound is that like you acclimate to pain. Scorpios can have high tolerance to discomfort. And then they allow things and they think that they attract more discomfort, but it's really what they are acclimated to allowing. You can unfollow me now. You're not doomed or fated to, the phoenix doesn't always have to be on fire. This 10 to, there is, okay, listen, Scorpio's fixed. I have said this for decades, even in a non-astrological lens. When we stay someplace, and I have a lot of mutable and cardinal, so it's easier for me to say that. I only have two fixed placements, and one of them is in Neptune. So, I mean, like, that is the most unfixed planet to have a fixed sign in. So it's always been easy for me, or like obvious. It felt like an obvious universal truth. When we stay in places that are no longer satiating us, especially somebody like Scorpio, universe will send the person. Like if you're in a relationship and that person has not curled your toes and doesn't satiate your brain, especially because it's a psychological sign as well as a physical sacral sign, you need somebody who's going to press both buttons, and also that you feel safe with, that so that you can have the trust to have the intimacy that Scorpio is all about. If you are not in that relationship, if you don't feel like I licked it, it's mine. Universe is going to send you somebody else that will press all of those buttons for you. It will never fail. And even in a non-astrological, I have been saying this since the 90s to people. If you stay settled in something where you're not madly, that isn't your best friend, you're not madly in love, and you don't want to chase them around the kitchen, then universe will send somebody that will curl your toes. Because we're not meant to stay in stuff like that. You could be already feeling like you're at the end. You may have a situation come up, Scorpio, where you can't help but jump. This is the Fool card. You're not, right? And what's interesting is you got the one where it's like that alligator mouth, right? This is the same thing. If you jump before you end this, if you keep this going before, that's not going to be fun. You have an opportunity to heal an old wound. If you release this first, that's going to be amazing for you. Let's see what you can give to yourself to help this whole thing along, Scorpio. First of all, there was an early rejection for you. That is not a defining of your character. You have to stop looking at, there might have been a situation, and this is common with Scorpio, right? Where you were made to feel like not right, not comfortable in your own environment, maybe in your own house, in your own school, something when you were younger, and you adapted it as that is what's wrong with me. I just had this conversation with Scorpio. What if there's nothing wrong with us? Without light, without darkness, there can be no lightness. What if it's just something to celebrate instead of tolerate? That is your homework, Scorpio. If you look at it like you have traits about you that people have to tolerate, you won't celebrate it yourself. And yeah, you probably won't attract people that are willing to celebrate it, but it's more important that you celebrate it yourself instead of feeling like it's a secret that other people will have to eventually tolerate. And that can be the cycle of pain. All right, so the cards are cardsing. Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Okay. There's 3 cards there. Nope, we're going to go. We're going to do a repull. Sagittarius. Then we have 3 more left. I know it's a long one today, but it's a full moon special. Okay. The opportunity that's coming is for you to step actually into a boss. You might have an opportunity to step into the head position, to get a promotion, to be the person in charge. It could just be a supervisor position, but there is, and that'll have monetary gain. Very, very clear. I sell a shirt in my shop that says I'm Sagittarius and I know things. Because Sagittarius does. They just do. They are more enlivened and satiated with the requisition of the knowledge and the understanding and how that grows them inside and expands their world than they are about crowing about it. And so sometimes Sagittarius doesn't realize that they know as much as they know, and they are ready to move and it's also the sign of the teacher, right? And so sometimes they don't realize that they've moved from student to teacher. You have. And that can bring you to a celebratory place of promotion, stepping into boss energy. I love that for you, Sag. Let's see what we give our Sages for relationships. Sages are definitely people who cannot stay in a relationship that does not Zaza the zoo anymore. Okay. Okay. In relationship, I'm going to pull a second card for this. You're either ghosting somebody, which is not unlike. Okay. Not all Sages and not all Sag placements. It depends on the whole of the chart. But Sagittarius is Jupiter. They're meant to expand. And they're fire. They're fiery expansion. And sometimes they're not meant to be in committed, monogamous, long-term relationships or conventional. Because they're not conventional. They're constantly growing. They're not happy to sit in something and stay complacent. Complacency is their abhorrence. The best thing you can do in any relationship is be honest with yourself and not let anybody think that that's what you want if you don't, and don't let anybody tell you that's what you should want. There's a situation here in relationship where there is a lack of communication. You also may like really actually like love more than one person for different reasons, but there is a lack of communication. It's either you or it's the other person. If there's another person in what conventionally would be a two-person relationship, no matter orientation, this, that, the other thing, that's all good if everyone knows and everyone's consenting. And that is all that it feels like is necessary, is to have, maybe you want to have a more open bedroom life, but you only want to be in a partnership with one person. Maybe maybe there's something else that needs to be explored. It could be that simple. It could be exploring a fantasy. Having the conversation about this is everything. And those that matter won't care. And those that care are not the people that you should. The problem is that that's right. That's for some people, not for everybody. We should all be operating on what's okay for us. That's an absolute nah for some people, but give them the information so that they can do that. And that means there's somebody else that should never make you feel guilty because that is what you want. There's nothing wrong or broken with you if that is how you operate. We're not all meant to be the same, but there has to be a conversation around it, Sagittarius. That might have just been for only like 2 people. But yeah, you got to tell, if you love somebody and you want trust and intimacy, you have to tell them all of your fantasies. And you're changeable fire. Jupiterian mutable fire. You need options and liberation and movement. There you get what you, it's the same conversation. Sagittarius, you're allowed to have whatever you want. If you are feeling like a square peg for a world full of round holes, that's what she said, that the honesty is going to turn this. You get to have whatever you want. If you want to be polyamorous, if you want to be this, if you want to be that, if you want to have a very spicy, expansive bedroom life with somebody that you love, whatever. If you like companionship but not commit, you're allowed to have that. Whatever it is that you want that's unconventional, that keeps you growing and moving. Hi, Delia. You're allowed to have that. Tell yourself you're allowed to have, and that universe can just bring you the things that align with you the best, and that you don't have to pretend that you are broken or that there's anything wrong with you if you don't want what is stagnant, complacent, or conventional. Capricorns. Okay. Ooh, Capricorn, there's an opportunity for movement. This is the Six of Swords. Uh, this could be physical moving, but if you have felt stuck in any way, Capricorns, in a level of your job, in a level of expertise, you feel like you couldn't get recognition, you feel like you're passed up for a promotion, you feel like your relationships, there is some kind of big movement, and it is moving from choppy waters to smoother waters. It is moving out of uncomfortable into alignment. That is a really nice opportunity. Talking about nice opportunities. Hello, Doretha. Hello, babe. Well, now I was smiling and I appreciate everybody in the chat, but we are always happy for a Doretha visit. For anybody new in the chat, it's Juan's birthday tomorrow. And the $10 and change introduction to trauma informed tarot class is pinned in the comments. And if you scroll up, there's a 50% off code. Okay. Relationships, Capricorn, with this movement, because you're moving, you're a humanitarian, one person at a time. I've teased you and called you Captain Save-A-Ho because you always want to make people better. It's that parenting, right? You probably had to parent yourself early. So like you tend to unknowingly maybe parent a little other people by leading by example, but also by infusing your wisdom, your experience. Saturn, Capricorn is Saturn run. And so you appreciate knowledge. You have gone to the school of hard knocks besides whatever other formal education and training that you have had, and then you reach the pinnacle. However, this has worked. The person you are dealing with is starting their journey on healing something. Now, you are not responsible, nor is it a reflection on you of whether they completely follow through or how long it takes them. Try to be patient, but it is on the table. The star card came out sideways. This is such a gorgeous card. I'm going to show you all. It came out sideways. And what I love about this is we are at the entrance of that temple of healing. We can call it Athena's palace, right? There is light there. This is wish fulfillment, and this is healing. Big, big, big healing. It is major arcana, so it is a major healing. It is a major growth point. If you let them do this at their own pace, this relationship has the kind of stand the test of time that you love. Now, this could be somebody younger. This could be somebody you're mentoring. It doesn't have to be romantic. But knowing that you can lead by example and that they are doing the work, but you have to let them go at their own pace. But this brings wish fulfillment in whatever it is that you want for, whether it's friendship or romantic relationship for you, Capricorn. And I love that for you. Okay, one of the things I pride myself on, and I feel like is another feather in my cap, along with all the Scorpio risings that book appointments, is the fact that we have a good amount of Capricorn in this community. And Capricorns, because they like grounded wisdom, are sometimes less likely to subscribe to astrology, tarot, metaphysics, blah, blah, blah. But we have a bunch in here. And here is the self-love. You know, the sister sign is Cancer. This is the High Priestess card. You are creme brulee, Capricorn. That warm, gushy inside is also intuitive as hell. Sometimes you might talk yourself out of how deeply gifted you are. The way that you give this love to yourself right now, you give the generosity that you would give to somebody else, is to allow yourself to not just be strong, but to ask for people to honor that softer, intuitive, gifted, ethereal side of you. Because one of the things that I say constantly is one of my favorite couple pairings is Capricorn and Pisces, because they're such beautiful balance to each other. When I pull the relationship card, I'll say it again. It doesn't have to be romantic. So it's just, and if something doesn't feel like it resonates you, you don't have to take it. But the relationship card doesn't have to be romantic, but still, this could just be like when you find someone, to let them go at their own pace. Yeah, I'm sure you're very generous. And I always say Capricorn's currency is really time. So while they can be financially generous, if they are spending all their time and effort on you, that means a lot. Yeah, dad was Capricorn. It's one of my favorite pairings. And again, they are in conjunct. They don't share a modality, a polarity, or an element. But they have a ton to teach each other and they create balance. Sometimes you will do very well with an in conjunct sign, with your sign with synastry, because of the fact that you will have so much to learn from each other. Okay. Aquarius. And then we just have Pisces. And then we just have Pisces. Aquarius, what is the opportunity? Cancer had a really nice reading, Doretha. And Gemini had a really interesting reading. Your opportunity, Aquarius, is to put the burden down. I say this ad nauseum. Y'all are solution oriented. You all have solutions for people, and sometimes it attracts people that have a problem for every solution. And so putting that down, putting that burden down, you picked up You know, when we're talking about the 10 of Wands, it looks like in the beginning, this was like, woof, this sets me on fire. And then, okay, I have to make a decision. Okay, I'm going to have to sacrifice, but this really sets me on fire. And then it gets really exciting and it feels really destined, right? And then all of a sudden it gets a little conflictual. And then after the conflict, we feel success. And so we start to associate the conflict and then winning the conflict with what makes us feel good. And then we protect it. We advocate for it. And then things move really fast again. And now we're protecting it. And then at some point we realize I took this on as passion. And now it's feeling a little bit like a burden because all of this energy, all of this passion, all of this actual physical work that I put into this, the other person is now just used to me doing all that. To taking all of my solutions, all of my creativity, all of my energy, and doing the work for them. And they are not picking up their part of the wands. They are not picking up their part of the action. It is time to stop doing it for them. You led by example, you advocated, you sacrificed, you led by example, and they don't want the solution for something as a tool that they can pick up and implement. They just want you to keep finding solutions because they want the effort put into them, because that is something that they are supposed to be doing for themselves. It doesn't matter whether that's at work, that could be a kid, that could be like an adult child, that could be, you've given them all the support, you've led by example, you've given them the solutions, and it's not catching fire. Can I get out of your head? We have my beautiful Aquarius moons. I love an Aquarius moon. One of my best friends in this world. Tell your guides, I said, it's your guides. Tell your guides. I'm just the conduit, right? Like it's your guides kicking with they're passing a note in gym. Um, I'm just reading the note out loud. I'm just the asshole reading the note out loud. um, one of my favorite friends is a Virgo with Jupiter rising and an Aquarius moon. Informative, dynamic, ever growing. Does anything say teacher vibes more than that? I love an Aquarius moon. And she's a snuggler. Aquarius moons are not cold. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you've got that strong Capricorn Saturn final dispositor, right? So now the Cap readings probably have a whole other meaning to you. Um, I am not mad at that for a love card, especially for Aquarius. Listen, Aquariuses do not, they in general are going to care less about other people's opinions. They have to have some really strong other, maybe like water placements or fire placements to really give a fuck. But Aquarius, you're not meant to assimilate, like even a little bit. Um, this in the next 6 months, you can attract somebody who can stand next to you and not feel intimidated. Here's the thing about Aquarians. They are solution oriented and they are humanitarian. So sometimes they attract people who need the growth that the Aquarian placement can give them. Also 11th house sun, 11th house moon. And then resentment grows later because the other person feels like they're in the shadow. Just such bullshit. That's a them thing, not a you thing. Don't be less. They can go find less. Don't be less, Aquarius. And don't be shamed and don't be any of that shit. You're not detached. Stupid ass slander. It's a stereotype, not an archetype. It's not real astrology. So if you're getting this Emperor card, that is this, and again, this card keeps coming up. 10 of Wands keep coming up. When we use tarot in understanding of the current transits, in this case, the Pisces full moon, we are predicting within the context, which means the same cards are going to come up. You are stepping into an era where you are going to attract somebody that can stand next to you and isn't trying to use you as a growth tool, isn't a feeling like because you have solutions and they have problems, that instead of that's organically who you are, that you must be thinking you're better than them. No, they're thinking you're better than them because they keep having problems and they're not instituting the tools. They're just using you as the tool giver. You're not a Home Depot, Aquarius. You get to have a partner that also supports you, that also doesn't feel the need to make you feel like you're too much or that you're cold, you're detached, because you are not about the drama. I love this. This is like really good partner energy, especially for a Saturn run. I'm not going to lie. This is coming in the next 6 months. Hi, Maricela. Very interesting Cancer reading and Sagittarius reading. Maricela had a very interesting tarot reading yesterday in the membership live where we were doing that. Ooh. The love you give yourself is pick the thing that you want the most. There may have felt like there was too many choices, or it may have felt like choices were changing and you wanted to pick the thing that was best for everybody, that can move everybody forward. It is not selfish to just hone in on the thing that you feel most aligned to and that you feel really emotional to, and not, well, it is what it is. Let me pick what's best for everybody and not feel selfish about it. Aquariuses are not detached and they're not selfish at all. They're the opposite of selfish, sometimes to their detriment. This is beautiful. If this was in the relationship thing, I would also say that, like, again, you're not a Home Depot. You shouldn't be one of the choices that somebody needs right now for their own growth journey. You should be someone that somebody can't imagine being without. And give that to yourself first, and then watch it come in the form of this. Oh, I love this. I love this. I don't know if Zoe and Maricela saw, but Doretha is with us today. It's like Juan's birthday. Doretha's here. It's a beautiful full moon. Okay. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. This is your full moon. If you have Pisces placements around 15 degrees, this is going, you're probably really going to feel this. Ground, especially Pisces, Libra, the other mutable signs. Please ground your energy for this, because if you ground your energy and go into this full moon and go into what is brought to you in this full moon, I mean, like, go ground right now because we're in it, right? Holy cow. This is beautiful. Okay. Your opportunity is to rest. Pisces, you don't have to do the most to be accepted, to be loved, to be wanted, to be desired, to fit in, to feel humanity, to feel community. This is do the least and watch who stays. Those are your people. Do the least and let it come in. I want you to do the same thing that I told Cancer, because, right, we have the full moon in Pisces conjunct the North Node and then in a trine with its ruler of Jupiter, but in Cancer, in these watery. So it's going to apply, and we're talking about opportunity. I want you to say to your guides, to the universe, to yourself, make sure you hear yourself. You hear every word coming out of your mouth. If you only speak of rejection, you are going to think that that is what you should just expect out of life, right? Instead of looking at it as boundaries. On the other side of boundaries is rejection. So rejection isn't bad. It's just what we need to be healthy and execute healthy boundaries. Do the least and know that it's none of your business what you have to do to let universe bring in all the best for you. In people, in situations, you can do the least because you are enough just existing. Every person in my life, I say that to all the time. Like, all I need from you is to exist. And it seems to be such a beautiful mirror for me for growth. I don't need you to run circles or do anything else. Sometimes it will be like that with certain connections. It was like that with my dad too. The opportunity is to have your spiritual rest and do the least. Watch who that attracts and watch who stays. I love the Ho'oponopono prayer. Somebody told me that to do that prayer around, I said, I have so much white hot hate for a person, quite frankly, that was in my family. It was abusive and all kinds of other things. And there was a situation going on after my parents' death, and I had a very wise metaphysical practitioner who told me, when you feel that, I want you to do the Ho'oponopono prayer. I always pronounce it wrong. And I want you to listen to it while you're going to sleep at night. And I found a particular video that has it, and I will post it after this, where the volume goes down so you really can go to sleep to it. And I was like, but I don't forgive them. What they did was 100% wrong. I do not love them. And she said, just do it, because it's not for them, it's for you. For a month, I went to bed listening to that. Life-changing. Because who was the hate? Who was the hurt? Who was the pain hurting? Not them. It's hurting me. Let go. You're enough. Be less. Do less. Do the least. That's your opportunity. And just let it come in. You don't have to. Okay. This is interesting. When you do the least, somebody around you is going to come out of their ghosting, is going to come out of their shell, is going to want to come around. There is some kind of attraction to you doing the least, where maybe they don't feel responsible, like it's a high maintenance because they feel like they have to return your serve because Pisces are such givers, right? But sometimes it's as an insurance policy, which energetically can feel a little anxiety ridden sometimes. And so they don't want to be responsible for your crash, or they're calibrating themselves, or they've got similar energy and like matter attracts like matter, whatever it is. And I just want to make sure that your old pattern, if your old pattern is like, I need to do less, I need to rest, I need to be good to myself, and then somebody comes out of the woodwork and you step in for them. And what you're doing is stepping out of this, that you intuitively, and you are so gifted, Pisces, you intuitively know that you need that. Spiritual hygiene, grounding, grounding, if you have Pisces placements. People are going to come out of this newfound wisdom and everything else. Great. They can wait for you. Do the least also means letting these relationships wait for you. Watch how it strengthens. Watch how your own level of self-respect, because everybody else will respect, because that's a boundary. Explain it. Don't ghost them, right? Because then you're just going to attract more ghosting energy, which makes you spin around why you're not worth communicating with, right? So don't ghost them. Just say like, hey, I do want to catch up with you, but give me a little bit here. I'll get back to you eventually. It's not a you thing. I'm just taking some time for myself. Wishing you the best. Communicate so you don't attract more non-communication, because Pisces loves to isolate, and you need that. You need that spiritual rest. And also, you don't love it when it happens to you, right? Because it feels like rejection. And because Pisces sometimes, before they get to the place where they don't anymore, can struggle a little bit with boundaries because they want to extend to everybody, because they understand that they have such empathy for everybody, even people they don't know. So on the other side of not having great boundaries is really having a not great relationship with the rejection part of that. Rejection just is what it is. It's not good or bad. It's just part of a healthy boundary. Yeah. I definitely have it because I have it on my sleep list, my sleep playlist. I put it at the bottom though now, so I'm usually asleep before I get to it, but I can find it and post it. We're almost done here, so okay. The love that you give yourself, Pisces, and I love this for you, is this Page of Cups. This is all about shifting and practicing new habits for you that are so comforting and so anti-anxiety for you. You're getting this Page of Cups because instead of coming in like gangbusters with the big gestures, because I will say sometimes that Pisces energy, and again, it is the Venus is exalted. It's got Jupiter, it's got Neptune. So think about the things that go into it's romantic as fuck. It is like a plate of 5-star Michelin chef food that looks like art, with effort willingly, lovingly given. And it tastes like love. You can taste it, right? And the whole thing is like poetry on the plate, in your mouth. the effort, the story building of the meal. If you've ever had a really good meal or a really well plated meal that just is delicious, it's an experience. You don't speak to the other people at the table. You're just registering every note and layer of the flavor and how it finishes and and that is Pisces when it is giving the most, when it is showing up in the big romantic gestures. Hold back. Don't give all of the best of you. Because when you give all of the best of you and it isn't appreciated, and you're not even looking for the reciprocation, you just want the appreciation. You just want the insurance policy of, is this enough? Because when I say a Pisces knows how big the world and the universe is, that also sadly that's such a beautiful thing. And also sometimes the unhealed parts of us can also interpret that as, oh my God, this person has a million other choices. I better dial it all up. I will talk about dating Joe and relationship Joe, dating Jane and relationship Jane, right? Dating Joe is like playing the guitar and making the meals and opening the door. And if relationship Joe is not that same person, and often it's not, right? And dating Jane could be like making the dinners and doing the things and whatever else, right? That they think is all the things that they listen, right? People who listen to everything you want and then give you that right away. It's like an audition, right? It's like an interview. It's the same thing as interview Joe and work Joe. Got the job, Joe, right? Might not be the same effort they show up at the interview with. The dating process is the interview process. Sitting in the power of you are enough, do the least. I love that, Doretha. And the love you give yourself is to not give all of yourself away until you decide whether somebody else is worthy of all that. I tease, all the time. I have a lot of 12th house energy. I only have 2 placements in Pisces, but they're minor. It's not any of the planets. And I will often tease like, oh, you've never had me on 10. You've never had me on 10. Because why would I do that? And even people that have known me for a long time or in a relationship, I mean, there are things that like, it's not that I'm holding back, it's that I'm leaving something to unwrap. I don't want to be bored. I don't want you to get bored. What you're getting out of 1, 2, and 3, I understand myself now. Like, that's quality. Me on 2 or 3 is quality still. You've got nothing to complain about. So I'll save 10. Because 1, it's nice for you to have something to unwrap later. That I haven't shown all of my cards, all of my tricks in the bag, everything right in the beginning. The other thing is, if I put my soul, my guts, my best bedroom tricks, all of it, my best stuff that I can pull out of the kitchen, whatever. I'm very good at surprises. I will plan a scavenger hunt, like big, 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 right? If I'm doing that all in the beginning and then it crashes for every reason, I feel like I was used when I maybe wasn't used, but that's also a lot for somebody to take on. Do the least. We don't want to feel like we're being told we're a lot. And we want to feel like enough at the same time. That's why I said in this Pisces moon, you are enough and you are not too much, because that's a very Piscean thing. It's about expectation, and it's about putting all the energy in the potential of something and feeling like the insurance policy is, I have to give somebody, let them earn all, because the 10 on a Pisces placement, that should be earned. And knowing you are enough that somebody needs to earn that, and that not that you need to put it all out on the table. so that it ensures your job interview that you get the position. Give that love to yourself. But that's enough to know that you're capable of all of that and how precious that is. And then it doesn't have to be all thrown on the table at one time. Happy Pisces full moon as usual. I was not short-winded. A lot of good messages in here. That's why I only do this once a week. I could do this once a week, or I could make monthly videos, which I feel like then run out of context, where I feel like this is always in the context. Happy birthday to Juan, the woke astrology link for classes for the the trauma-informed tarot class, which is really for people not practicing tarot. That is for the every person. And there's 4 classes. And with the discount that I'm going to put in, that is the code that gives you 50. It's a little bit more than $10 per class, and it's got a ton, but there are limited spots. And it's also being advertised over on Lori's platform, which is ginormous. And so just, you guys have that, you have that code membership, you have an even better code. And, but the limited spots, I just want to say that, because then I'm going to feel bad when somebody's like, oh, I was waiting, and they don't start till the 24th. I love you. Now you love you. If you want to share this video, that's amazing. And I appreciate all of you. I really, really do. Have a great rest of your weekend. And you can still put out moon water. It's going to be soft opportunity moon. If you're in membership, you have all of the instructions on what to do with each moon. So you would have known that already. And there's a join button somewhere. I don't know. You're on YouTube. You know how to do stuff on the internet. Stuff is in the description, I think. All right. Everybody have a great day.